Hello, hello. So we are about 2 months into the hockey season, and I wanted to revisit a video I made at the beginning of the season. If any of my students happen to watch this, this is about ice hockey. It has nothing to do with our class, but ice hockey is a great sport. You should check it out. So anyway, at the start of the season, I asked the question, do you want your team to make the playoffs? And I listed them into these categories. And I thought after 2 months of playing, it'd be fun to revisit it. So at the beginning, I broke them into 8 categories. 7 of them were yes, I want my team to make the playoffs. All right. So the vast majority of teams, you want your team to make the playoff. The last group at the bottom, you don't want your team to make the playoffs. Only 4 teams fit into there. So I wanted to check back and see whether teams' expectations had risen, had they lowered, are they, steady for the course, and see how things might have changed in the meantime. All right, so the categories, just to refresh, we had Cup hopefuls. These are the teams that are looking to win the Stanley Cup this year. I had the Avs, the Dallas Stars, the Golden Knights, the Oilers, the Panthers, and the Lightning. Rinse and repeat was the second category. That meant teams that, they're playoff teams. They expect to make the playoffs. If you're a playoff team, you want to make the playoffs. Do they really expect to win the Stanley Cup? Let's see. So we had the Canes, the Kings, the Capitals, the Jets, the Maple Leafs, and the Devils. No regression. That was the teams that made the playoffs last year. And you made it last year, you want to make it again. You don't want to go back. You don't want to take a step backward. That was the Wild, the Habs, the Blues, and the Sens. Back on the horse, those were teams that missed the playoffs last year, but had made it recently, and they want to get back to the playoffs. So I had the Canucks, the Preds, and the Rangers. Climb the mountain, those are teams that didn't make the playoffs last year, but they came close. And, they're moving towards the playoffs. So that was the Ducks, the Flames, the Mammoth, and the Blue Jackets. I don't know if I'm hiding this one here. And the Drought. Those are teams that just hadn't made the playoffs in a long time. They don't really care how they get there. They don't care what they do there. They just want to make the playoffs. And that was the Sabres and the Red Wings. Cool. And then we had the teams that I said a run would be fun. A run would be fun. So these are the teams where, nobody expects you to make the playoffs, but if you did, it'd be cool. Let's see what happens. But anyway, so I had the Blackhawks, the Flyers, and the Sharks in there. And then finally, the 4 teams that I said, I don't want to make the playoffs this year. I had the Bruins, the Kraken, the Penguins, and the Islanders. And to be clear, when I thought of this teams, I thought, if they made the playoffs, they would squeak into a wild card. Maybe they get in, they get knocked down the first round by one of the best teams. What's the point? You'd rather just build for the future. So let's see what happens. Starting with the Cup hopefuls. This I'm going to leave entirely intact. Avs, absolutely. Stars, absolutely. Golden Knights, absolutely. The Oilers and the Panthers are struggling, but still they've been to 2 Stanley Cup finals in a row. Just get in the playoffs and then see what happens. The Lightning on top of the Atlantic Division. All right, my Cup hopefuls stay the same. Rinse and repeat. The Canes. Now, could they move up to Cup hopefuls? Their goaltending sucks. I own 2 of them. I own Anderson and Bussy. Chekhov's always hurt. I just don't see how their goaltending is going to get them to it. Sorry. Kings, where they are. The Capitals, I think, are the most likely team to move up in the Cup hopeful category. I'm still not convinced, but, they're doing well. Now, finally, we get some movement. First, was it 9 teams where they are. The Jets are going to... Oh, no, sorry. The Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs are going to move into no regression. So the Leafs, they picked it up a little lately, but they're not kind of the powerhouse they were, the regular season powerhouse they were. I think that at this point, you just kind of want to make the playoffs. If things continue to go badly, they might move down to look to the future. But for the moment, they're moving down to no regression. Same thing with the Jets. They had that magical start to last year. Not so much this year. But do you really want to miss the playoffs? No, you just kind of want to get back in. That'd be a bit of a disaster. The Devils, they lost Jack Hughes. What a shame. but they are also moving down. They're not trending in the right direction. So if you're the Devils, kind of no regression at this point. So we got 3 teams moving down a tier. No regression. We got the Wild, right? They're in a playoff spot. The Habs, I think they're in a playoff spot. The Sens are close. The Blues are the interesting one of these 4. I feel like if things don't turn around, they're going to move down. But for the moment, I'm going to leave them here. They had that big run at the end of last year. Maybe they could repeat it. Maybe I haven't given up on them yet. So those 4 regression teams, no regression teams, I'm going to leave them where they are for the moment. The Canucks. People would tell me what I think of them, but time to pack it in. You guys are not going to make the playoffs. Even if you do make the playoffs, who cares? Look to the future, boys. I'll be curious if any of my poolies watch this. What are your thoughts? But you're going down. Preds, exact same thing. The Marchessault, Stamkos, Brady Skjei experiment did not work. Time to move on. Look to the future. The Rangers, they're looking. I mean, they are not back on the horse, but they could be. I don't know. They're hard to tell, but we're not giving up on the Rangers. All right, so they are the only team for the moment remaining in back on the horse. Moving on to climb the mountain. The Ducks, keep climbing that mountain, boys. You can do it. They are they in first place in the Pacific? Right now they are on top of the mountain. So keep climbing. The Flames. Richard Skinner was right. The Flames suck. I thought they would do better than this, but no. Look forward to the future. You don't need to climb the mountain this season. The Mammoth, come on, keep climbing. The Blue Jackets as well. I love the Blue Jackets. I said you guys would make it. You better make it. So those 3 teams, they'll stay. And the Drought, I mean, you can't really move out of this category the way it's constructed. It just means you want to make the playoffs at all costs. So those 2 teams, they still want to make the playoffs at all costs. So moving on to the run would be fun. The Blackhawks, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs still. Bedard's having a monster season. They got young guys like Levshinov, like Nazar, my boy Oliver Moore coming up. If they snuck in, it'd still be fun. The Flyers, Zegras has been great. Mitchkov is not playing that well, but, it's a young core. I still think most people don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but if they did, good for you. It'd be fun. Now, the third team here is the most interesting, is the Sharks. And I am going to move the Sharks up to climb the mountain because the Sharks, we all knew Macklin Celebrini was good. We all knew Will Smith was good. I don't think we knew they were this good. So at this point, it's not like, a run would be fun. It's more like, we can do this. Come on. We got some vets on defense. We got Dmitry Orlov, Nick Leddy, John Klingberg. We got some old guys on this team. Come on. Let's do it. All right. So the Sharks get promoted to climb the mountain. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams that have changed spots. Now, these are the 4 teams, look to the future, that I said at the beginning of the season, I do not want this team to make the playoffs. And the Bruins have been way better than I expected. I'm still not convinced, but that being said, I'm going to put them back on the horse. They were the powerhouse for years with Marchand and Bergeron, etc. They're not that team, but still, at this point, you could say, come on, let's get back in the playoffs. It's going to work. All right, they stay. The Kraken are doing much better than expected, but I'm still not convinced. You get to the first round. Are you going to beat the Avs like you did a few years ago? I don't think so. I'm going to leave the Kraken where they are. The Penguins are an interesting one. I think they're too old to go back on the horse. However, you got Crosby, you got Malkin, who's having a great season, much better than I expected. He's keeping it up in December so far. So, you got all those guys, whatever. Just go to the playoffs, have some fun. I don't think they're going to do much when they get there, but screw it. I'm going to put the Penguins, a run would be fun. The Islanders, Matthew Schaefer, looking like the Calder Cup winner, playing great. Bo Horvat having a monster season. And it wasn't that long ago that they were one of the best teams in the East. So the Islanders and the Bruins make a surprising leap out of look to the future to back on the horse. Okay. We'll see how much they can keep it up. So to recap, Cup hopefuls. Cup hopefuls are staying where they are, those 6 teams. I think they are still the 6 favorites for the Stanley Cup. Rinse and repeat. We had 3 teams out. The Canes, the Kings, the Capitals look like solid playoff teams, but are they really going to win the Stanley Cup? I don't think so. No regression. 3 new teams added to it. All these teams hoping to get in. Back on the horse, the Islanders and the Bruins make the leap up to it with surprisingly good starts, kind of refine their winning ways. Climb the mountain. 3 teams still working on it. The Sharks, I think, leveled up to climb the mountain. Kind of premature, but they're doing it. And the Drought, come on, boys, get in the playoffs. A run would be fun. The Blackhawks and the Flyers still on the outside, but it'd be fun. Penguins. I'm kind of iffy on this one, but, screw it. Get in the playoffs. Crosby deserves to be in the playoffs. The future, Kraken, despite doing well, stay there. The Canucks, the Preds, and the Flames, the sad stories, the sad sacks of this current season. So, that question asked, what teams could potentially move looking forward? The Capitals. Could the Capitals jump into Cup hopefuls? We'll see. I'm not quite sure. The Blues. Could they fall down to look to the future? It's possible. We'll see what they do. What else do we have here? A run would be fun. The Blackhawks, they just got whooped by somebody tonight. They lost 6-0. Could they drop down to look to the future? I'm not sure. But I'm pretty happy with this list. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams change categories, which, out of 32, that's significant. So there you go. That's the update to 2 months ago look, and maybe we'll revisit this, after the Olympics. All right, but thanks for watching, everybody. Leave your comments below, and hope to see you later. All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.